let's see. So we've got a challenge for you. So, well, we've done tell us your name, haven't we? We've been around everybody. But one of them was, what does care mean to you? Not just in action, but in feeling. What does it feel like to be cared or to be a carer? Either way, what's the feeling of that?
For me personally, to be cared for, we were saying about this a little bit earlier actually, it's just to feel that love. It's that to feel that like overwhelming support and love and warmth, and it's a very positive thing, even though it can be related to something quite negative, because like if you need to be cared for, there's not something wrong, but like me for example, I've got a long-term disability at the moment, and like what's going on with that, and like Tim's my sort of carer, my husband is, but I don't see it as like a negative role. I see it as like it's full of positivity, it's full of like love, warmth, I don't know.
And what about on the flip side, being a carer?
Overwhelming. I think it's very difficult. I think it's hard to switch off from. I'm a mum, so like, you know, I've sort of got a caring role in that way. But it can be very overstimulating at times. Like sometimes at night time she wants to sort of lie on me and I'm like, oh, I've done too much I can't, don't touch me. I don't mean it in any sort of bad way, I just can't cope with her being like on me, do you know what I mean? So I think, if you're a carer, I think it can be very overwhelming, and it's that constant worry, it's that constant stress. I don't know, what do you think?
Well, it's funny, in my brain I'm thinking, am I doing those things because I'm a people pleaser? Am I over-analysing things? Like for me, I suppose, I think I struggle to feel cared for when I'm caring. Because when I'm caring, I'm not present with myself. I'm often thinking about the future. I'm often stressed because thinking about all these thousands of things. Like my responsibility is to my son. Like that's my primary caring responsibility. But like then in those moments I struggle to feel cared for because I feel like there's so much of a burden. And not burden in the negative sense, but burden in the sense that there just is so many things to think about. Like, you know, you're sorting out school and feeling like, oh, they're eating, has he had enough water, he hasn't had a vegetable in 4 days, what's going on, is jam a vegetable, what's happening? You know, you're in that space, and then I find it then really hard to feel any kind of vulnerability to be cared for and feel loved for. That I think is a really difficult thing to sit those two things side by side. But that's maybe where I'm at with it at the moment. Like, you could ask me on Sunday when I've had 2 days off the school run, and I'll be like, I feel like someone brought me a cup of coffee this morning, I'm having a great time. Like, it changes day by day, doesn't it?
I think it's also like the female rage point of view of like actually having to be responsible for like caring roles since being quite young as well. You always have to like care about other people's feelings, like, you know, I always had to care for my younger siblings, and I had to, you know, because I was a girl, care about how I spoke a bit more. So that's definitely carried on into like adulthood, and I think affected how much care I give, and again I struggle to receive it as well. Just burnt out from it sometimes.
It's interesting that you said care about how you speak. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I don't know, I just feel like a lot of my life I've had to really kind of police how I say things, you know, and then maybe like men perhaps didn't have to do it so much, and you notice that when you're a young girl anyway, and it's unfair, and then now as an adult you're like, the rage sets in then, and you kind of like realise how unfair it's been, and then you're unlearning a lot of behaviours, and then you like, I don't need to police myself anymore, and I'm actually surrounded by a lot of supportive people, but the habits are still there and the feelings are still there, definitely.
And then this new who am I?
Yeah, you just feel a bit lost, don't you?
It's crazy. What about yourself?
Makes me feel old.
No,
it's in a weird way, because I collected mums, all sorts of mums along the way doing the play, and you know, giving advice and all sorts of things, and sometimes I do, you know, I've got 30-year-olds calling me mum, and I'm like, but just because just about I'm old enough, just legally old enough to have been your mum, doesn't mean I'm quite ready for that role of an adult.
I totally get you that. I get quite offended when, like, they'll say, "Oh, you're the mum of the kid."
Yeah,
the mum.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't know what it is with that, just a bit of a trigger.
As long as it's not moving on to the gran of the group, I'll survive a little bit longer for the mum of the group.
It can be seen as like a positive though, because it means you're the sensible one. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're sensible, you've got sense, you've got wisdom. Like you've got stuff that maybe other people don't have. So it's like we come to you for that role, for that. Like it's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's a responsibility.
It's not,
But I've never
when
had
you're
someone.
there,
Yeah, no, I've never had
people
someone
think
come
you're like
that's
that.
not Willow.
Below, you're just like, and you're paddling away and you are
Yeah.
not holding yourself together at all. And then you've got people who ask for your advice and you're giving it out and you are trying to be as helpful and useful to these people as possible. And I'm like, look, if they came to my house and saw the mess that the fact that I am not doing what I'm doing, do as I say and not what I do, because I am stressed out as hell,
Same.
I'll give you all the advice in the world.
Yeah, same.
It's
It's practicing what you preach, isn't it?
yeah.
And yeah, I don't do that.
No, I don't
I'm
do
so
that.
quick to be like, oh, have you tried this? Like, I didn't drink more water, and there's me like, it's the first bottle of water I've drunk this year. I don't know, what are we in June? I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean? It is very much it's sort of preaching to the choir a bit, but yeah, it's tricky.
Yeah, it's one of those. I think my answer to that would be guilt. That was one of the first. So I was a young mum. I was a mum at 16, and one of the very first feelings I had was guilt. Like that I could never be good enough.
Yeah.
Could never do all of the things that are expected.
Yeah.
Never. And I still feel that now for all the people that I care for. Because care is widespread, isn't it? But yeah, it's just like, I suppose it's like burden, which I think has been said already, and like a guilt.
I didn't realise how much guilt would play a factor in becoming a mum. Like, nothing prepares you to be a parent anyway. Nothing does. There's no way. But then when you actually become a parent and then like mum guilt sets in, it's like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Okay.
There's no right answer. There's no, that's mum guilt's horrendous. Guilt is, I wasn't ready for that. And it was massive when she was a baby because she had eczema, and I just felt like it was my fault. And like, I was saying to someone actually about this the other day, when you have a new baby and it's meant to be like bright and bonny and beautiful and lovely and gorgeous baby. And it's like, well, actually there's something wrong with my baby. And it's like, now I feel like I've got to make excuses for my baby, because like you must have felt that with Elijah. Because of his breathing and because of, he was prem, wasn't he? So like, did you feel that? Like, because genuinely, like, Willow just had eczema, and I was constantly like making up excuses for it, like, oh, don't worry about the face, it's just and like dismissing it. So, and I remember he used to have like oxygen. Did you ever feel the need to sort of overly explain it? Like, what did you have as that?
I don't know, it's a strange one, isn't it? So Elijah was 3 months premature.
Yeah.
So he was born at 29 weeks, and he weighed about £2 9 ounces. So he was teeny tiny. And he was in the hospital for 3 months. And then he came home not on oxygen. But then, as often happens, because he was on a ventilator for 3 months, he'll always have chronic lung disease, which is a degeneration of the lungs because of being on the vent for so long. And so when he came out of hospital, after maybe a month or so, he went back on home oxygen, which is when they have a tank and they have all the tubes and they have to keep it. You have to keep it on all the time. So even when like you could take it off him to bath him, but he'd still have like the stickers on and all kinds of stuff, and he had like a rash on his face from the stickers. And I became very, I don't know what the word for it is, but not protective, but I became very stoic in like, this is my parenting journey, this is how he is, and we are going to exist as normally, as humanly possible. This is just a factor in the journey that we're on right now. But it was other people's reactions that would be really strange. Like, I remember one woman coming up to me, and I was at a mother and baby group, and she just came up to me, and like, I almost admired it, because she was like, what's wrong with him? And I was thinking, oh, well, there actually isn't. Well, I suppose in your sense there is something wrong with him, but there's nothing wrong with him. He just needs a bit more time with a bit more oxygen. But like that was always the response, and people being really strange about having the oxygen tank underneath the pram. And like I breastfed, so we'd be like breastfeeding, and I'd be attached to the pram because there'd be an oxygen tank under it, and it'd all be very complicated. And so I got mum guilt in the sense of like I wanted him to have the most normal experiences as possible. I think I also get, it's not guilt, but I get a bit of, like I missed out Like, I missed out on my 3rd trimester. I missed out on, like, that normal birthing announcement. All of that was very strange. And I think I get more the sense of missing out than I get mum guilt about it. But even now, like, I'm like, don't run too fast. Just in case. Like, he gets out of breath and I'm like, oh, you okay? Thinking, oh, it's gonna be asthma, or it's gonna be something else that's developed because of those preconditions.
So you're going to be constantly in that. So you're on about caring. Do you know what I mean? You're like constantly in that sort of caring role as a mum, and as like sort of making sure that like it's breathing. Like, that's vital. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's like
And now, like, the only thing that really lingered with him is his eyesight. So his eyesight's very poor, and he's got a lazy eye. There's like other terms for it, but that's what the doctors use. And so I'm always thinking, is that because he was prem? Is that because he was prem? And then thinking about things that he might do in the future. So like the doctors have said things to us like, he'll never be an athlete, he won't be able to fly a plane, and those little things that you don't think they're going to crop up, but then suddenly you're sitting there going, yeah, and then I'm going to learn to fly, and I'm holding my tongue thinking like, he's only 7, don't ruin that, you can't ruin that dream, but knowing in the back of my mind that that'll actually never happen.
I'd be like, have you thought about this instead?
Oh yeah. Kind of pushing into
driving.
Oh no, because he wants to be a race car driver and he couldn't be a race car driver because he can't see.
Oh yeah.
So it's like it's always a balance between like thinking what happened, and then because they don't really kind of always know what causes severe preeclampsia, so you're always kind of then thinking, oh, was it something to do with me? And then thinking, like, I love my partner, but thinking, did I choose the wrong DNA? What's going on?
Well, men are actually responsible for
A lot of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of new research that's come up now. Like, preeclampsia is linked to like men's health and
to do with the quality of sperm and its reaction to the womb, but then it's also about, is the womb attached to the uterus? So I don't know, it's all very...
But then all this is emerging, yet society expects us to be the ones that carry the majority of the responsibility, the care and responsibilities.
Yeah.
And like you said, you brought up the point that someone at a other group came to you. I've had mums come to me at breaking point, or they've arrived at a place even breaking point, and I've picked up on the fact that they're ready just to throw the towel in. It's the second week of the holidays. A particular one, 4 kids, absolute star of a lady. You know, they're all quite young kids, so they're just everywhere. And getting on the bus, oh, telly broke at your house. Oh, must be nothing on TV. And she just got to the point where she'd had about 10 of those comments from coming one of the villages into town, and she was like, I just can't, I'm not coming out the house again. And I had to not literally, but give her head a wobble and go, ignore them. Look at the kids. Every single one of them is having a whale of a time.
They're healthy, they're happy,
But the community just didn't. Or it's not her community, but it's people within the community who are just quite happy to, they think they're funny. It's the same as when you're at the till going, oh, it didn't scan, it must be free.
Yeah,
it's like, it's the same old jokes, but they're not funny, and they're actually, really harmful and damaging.
You can't win them, can you?
No.
You get it all the time like I do.
Yeah.
When you're having another one.
Oh, when's your next?
When's your next one?
Because you're married and
Nearly
you've got
died in the first one.
I know.
Yeah.
I remember when Willow was, I'm sure you all probably know about this anyway, but I was offered by a photographer to Photoshop Willow's face, because we were at the supermarket on the Wirral, and we were heading out. We were in a supermarket. We were heading out, and there was a photographer. Like they do, like you've got the AA in the doorway and people like that. There was a photographer on this specific day, a woman photographer as well. Don't know if that makes a difference. But she was like, oh, do you want a photograph? And I'm like, it's a hot day. I'm okay. We're fine, thank you. Oh, don't worry about her face. I'll airbrush the marks off her face. And I was like, no, I'm okay, thank you. And then I sort of got out, and I was like, what did she just say to me? Did she just offer to Photoshop my baby? And thank God I realised afterwards, after I'd left, because if I'd realised fully what she was saying in that moment, I can't be responsible for my actions. But I realised afterwards, and I was like, she can't. And we made a massive complaint, and we got a sorry, sorry this happened to you. But no, you're right. I get the often when you're having another, and and I'm not well, so I'm like, I then feel the need to over-explain how unwell I am, that I couldn't possibly have another. Do you know what I mean? I don't want more. I'm not, but there's so many. I just do. I over-explain it. I do.
I make it someone else's fault. I go, when he can carry it, we'll have
Yeah.
power and offer.
Yeah.
But it's
It's
hard.
difficult,
Think
it's
about
so-
it.
Same reason as always the telly back. Oh, it's just the way it happened. We had 4 kids, we done.
Yeah.
And now we're going to, they're all going to grow up at very similar ages. They'll all leave home at the same time. It's not 10-year gap between them. And, well, hey, but why is it anyone else's
Business.
at all?
I get a few saying, like, that, it's not too bad, I suppose, being an only child. I'm like,
Oh,
like,
yeah, I love those.
she's fine. Like, we're fine. We're a good little team of 3. Do you know what I mean? We don't need an extra. And to do with caring as well, because of being unwell, my daughter's very full of empathy and she's classed as a young carer. And I've explained that I don't think she'd let me be a mum. I think if the baby was bottle fed, she'd be like, oh, let me do it. And you all know what Willow's like.
Yeah.
I think she'd be like, oh, don't worry, I'll sort it.
Yeah.
Baby's crying, oh, I'll rock the baby, I'll do this. And I think that she would just become mum at like age of 6, and I just can't. There's too much responsibility straight away then, isn't it? It's not fair. But as a woman, we are all meant to go down that certain route. You're meant to get married, you're meant to have kids. I've got a friend and she never wants kids, and I don't know if people still ask her, but when she was younger, people would be like, well, so when are you having kids? And she's like, I just don't want them, anything. I'm happy being an auntie. And that was her response. And I honestly, I don't know whether she gets asked because she's in a relationship and that's like the done thing.
I didn't want any. 5 later.
I feel like it's asked less now though. Not many people have asked me, but then like now it's just been a constant battle in my head. So I hate, like, even sat here now hearing these stories, it's making me think even more about it.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good because like, I hear that there is like community for it, and if I did feel like I'm losing my marbles with it, there's places I can turn. But then also, the world doesn't feel like a very good place at the moment, and then do I want to willingly introduce a child to that, but then also like really want to be a mother, and there's just like
it's that conflict of
and then I'm not well, and then would I be judged for not being able to like run around in the park with my kid every day, and like there's a lot to it.
We locked
It's
down
complex.
COVID and met one of my mates in Gregsville, and they were just like, oh, how you doing? And I was like, mate, if I knew this was happening, I would not have kids. It was such a tricky time to have them at home all the while, which they lost their communities.
a lot of people had lockdown babies as well, didn't
Yeah,
they? And they
yeah. I mean, at least lockdown, maybe 18 months later, they're ready to start.
Yeah, but
kind
your
of
children missed out on 2 years of
But
their
they
life.
were, and they lost their Welsh as well.
Yeah.
So they go to
Right.
Welsh school, and it's Welsh first language. They didn't do year 3s when they start learning English in school. So they suddenly went to no Welsh at all again, and then they had to go back and pick it up. They're like, they're struggling a bit with the Welsh. Well, no wonder.
Yeah.
Because I haven't been able to influence that at all.
No.
Being heavily dyslexic, the English was tempting. So for maths, cracking. We learned a lot of maths.
Yeah.
And one day we were doing 3D shapes with the eldest, and we got to the point where we were going to kill each other, so we stopped. And we got these little magnet and ball bearing kind of build you stuff. And my youngest turned around and went, "Look, Mum, a pyramid!" I said, she's learned more sitting at the other end of the room listening than my eldest learned. Being in the conversation, it was like, right, we're going down the Erddig. Thank God for Erddig.
Get in the rhythm.
Yeah, chuck him in the river all afternoon, it's the way to do it.
I know there was someone at the time that they had to, obviously schools, everything went shut down, didn't they? Everything stopped. And when they went back to school, they, instead of being year 7, they were in year 9, and there was still a lot of bullying going on, and they just couldn't understand why the bullying was still there. And I'm like, because you're in year 7, you're not technically in year 9. You've gone back, and when you pick up where you've left off, you were in year 7. So all these kids that, like, by the time they get to year 9, God forbid, bullying stops or becomes a lot less, do you know what I mean? And a lot more like,
Pecking orders.
absolutely, But, and they just couldn't understand like why it was happening. I'm like, because no one's matured, no one's grown. You haven't seen each other, like everyone's getting back into that environment where you have to learn to be around people again. Like sometimes, even if I'm in a queue, like in Tesco or something like that, if someone stood too close to me, I'm a bit like, oh, strange. I'm a bit like my personal space is sort of gone because it's gone now, isn't it? COVID's gone, and it's not real anymore. It's a thing of the past, and we look back at it. Whereas actually, it's still quite rife in the community. People still get COVID. People have long COVID. And if people are too close to me, and I'm quite a peoply person, I will like touch your arm, and I'm like dead huggy and stuff. But if someone is just breathing on me, I'm like,
I like
that is vile.
I want that.
I get ragey now.
Yeah,
Getting close to me.
Like, why are you
like,
so close?
I get fisticuffs.
Yeah, I constantly fiddle, and I'm constantly like, ready to
feel it bubbling up. Like, am I so close to
But there was that big push, wasn't there? Get back to normal, whatever that meant. But like, don't deal with the trauma of being cooped up with all these extra care responsibilities for 2 years. Don't feel burnout, God forbid. Don't be
Just get yourself
affected
down
by
the
that.
pub and have 2 for 1 or whatever.
Do you think that was more aimed at women or men though? Or do you think it was a societal thing?
It was aimed at the pockets.
Money.
It was a very British thing, wasn't it?
Money.
Like, we could get out and
Money. Spend.
You can't
carry on spending.
you can't carry on, go to the pub.
People invoking the Blitz spirit, isn't it?
Yeah,
That was the
exactly.
problem. But like, obviously the Blitz, massive traumatic period for those people who lived through it, absolutely. But like, it wasn't still in the air. You could just get out and carry on with your lives because the bombs had stopped dropping. But we're not told that these things have stopped happening. We just now have to accept that that's a new normal. You'll get ill, you'll get flus. Like, I think the flus have all been much worse since COVID. The immune system.
The variants and the different.
The psychological effects. Actual long COVID, which is actually still in our communities. Like, it's still super hard. Like, Elijah was on lockdown because he was still under the premature care. So we were on super duper lockdown, and so having to come out of that and be like, oh, just go and play with the other kids. Like, you couldn't even see your grandparents for 2 years. So go and play. Don't lick things.
Don't put anything in your mouth.
Honestly. It's just, I think we're still feeling the hangover from it. Though.